Hey everyone, and welcome. So, have you ever looked at a sewing machine and felt that mix of, ooh, that's cool, and whoa, that looks complicated? If so, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this amazing tool and break it all down into simple, easy to understand pieces. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll see it as your new creative partner, not some complex machine.
And it really is more than just a machine, isn't it? I love this quote from Jessie Randall. She says she treats her sewing machine like part of the family. And that's because it's a tool for making things, for fixing things, for expressing yourself. It's that personal connection that makes learning how to use it so rewarding.
So, how does this thing actually work? What makes it tick? Well, to get you from square one to sewing your very first seam, you really only need to understand a few key things. So, let's start the tour, shall we? First things first, let's tackle a really basic question. Why even use a machine? I mean, people sewed by hand for centuries, right? Well, understanding its purpose is the first step to mastering it. Really, it all comes down to one thing: efficiency. Compared to sewing by hand, a machine is just unbelievably faster. It creates stitches that are stronger and more even, and it just makes the whole process way more convenient. It opens up a whole world of projects that would take forever to do by hand. All right, now for the fun stuff. Let's actually get to know the machine itself. Now, there are a ton of knobs and dials, but don't worry, we're not going to list off 100 different parts. We're just going to focus on the key landmarks, the absolute must-knows to get you started. Okay, let's start with the absolute heart of the machine, the needle and the little clamp that holds it in place. This is where all the action happens. The needle's main job is to punch that top thread down through the fabric, and that's what kicks off the whole stitch-making process. But the needle can't do its job alone. It needs a partner, and that's the presser foot, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It presses down on your fabric, holding it nice and flat against the machine. This gives you amazing control and helps the needle make clean, perfect stitches every single time. Aha, the bobbin. Now, this little guy is the secret to how a sewing machine makes such a strong stitch. It's just a tiny spool that holds the bottom thread. That bottom thread is what locks together with the top thread from the needle. And here's a super important pro tip. Bobbins are not one size fits all, so always use the one that was made for your specific machine. It'll save you a ton of headaches. So how does the fabric move along so perfectly? Well, that's the job of the feed dog. As the needle pops up, these little metal teeth rise up, grip the fabric, and pull it backwards, getting it ready for the very next stitch. They're the reason you get those beautiful, even seams without having to push the fabric yourself. Pretty clever, right? Okay, take a deep breath. We've arrived at what a lot of people think is the trickiest part, threading the machine. But I promise you, it's not scary. It's really just like following a treasure map that the manufacturer built right into the machine for you. Let's walk through it. First up, we need to get our bottom thread ready. That means winding the bobbin. As you can see here, you just pop your spool of thread on the pin, wrap the thread around the empty bobbin a few times, click it into place, and let the machine's winder do all the work. Once that's full, we're ready for the top thread. All right, now for that top thread. And here's the best part. Most modern machines literally have a numbered path printed right on them. You're just following the dots. You guide the thread from the spool, follow the arrows down, loop it up through what's called the take-up lever, and then bring it all the way back down to the needle. And those little guides along the way, they create tension, which is what makes the stitch balanced and strong. It really is that simple. Okay, so we've got our top thread in the needle, and we've got our bobbin thread waiting down below. The big question is, how do they meet? This right here is where the real magic of a sewing machine happens. This is the final step in getting set up, and it's what creates that super strong lock stitch that machines are famous for. All we have to do is go fishing for that bottom thread. And here's how we do it. You just turn the hand wheel, always towards you, by the way, and that sends the needle down. As it travels, that top thread forms a little loop that swoops around and literally catches the bobbin thread. Then, as the needle comes back up, it pulls that bottom thread up with it. You just pull the loop, and boom! You have both threads on top, ready to sew. And just like that, you did it. Your machine is threaded and ready to go. So now, let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle, how to know you're getting a great stitch and how to keep your machine happy for the next project. When you sew your first little test seam, here's what you're looking for. This is your quality checklist. Are the stitches nice and even? Are they continuous? And the big one is, does it look the same on the top and the bottom? If so, congratulations. That means your tension is perfect. That's the goal, a stitch that's both strong and beautiful.
And of course, to make sure you can keep on creating, a little bit of love goes a long way. Just wiping away dust and lint after you sew, adding a little drop of oil to the moving parts now and then, and keeping it covered will make sure your machine runs perfectly for years and years. It's a creative partner, and it's definitely worth looking after.
So there you have it. The mystery is solved. It's not so intimidating anymore, right? You get the keep hearts, you know the path of the thread, and you know what a great stitch looks like. So the only question left, and it's the best one, is what are you going to make first?